The primary obstacle to being paid high fees as a coach is wanting to be paid high fees as a coach. When I first got started in coaching, I was working in the dating industry. My now wife and I were helping single men in London to learn to connect with women. And in parallel to what we were doing, there was a whole industry called the pickup artist industry. We were teaching guys about authentic connection, but this alternative industry, the pickup artist industry, was teaching guys how to pick up women. And that industry was so clever in its manipulative approach because the idea pick up a woman creates a problem for a man, because the moment a man thinks about picking up a woman, he feels fear in his belly. Why? Because it's completely natural to feel fear, because that's not something that a woman would want, to be picked up, put me back down, to be taken, right? And so you feel fear because it's fucking weird and it's uncomfortable and it's manipulative. And so this whole industry about picking up women created fear that it then gave guys this engineering solution to solve, tips and tricks and techniques in order to achieve that outcome that they were afraid naturally of doing. And so the industry created the problem that it solved, or supposedly solved. High fee coaching is a problem that is an industry that's solving, but at the same time, the problem doesn't need to exist in the first place, because what you really want is to make good money or to create prosperity as a coach. But if you have this, what I need to do is charge high fees. Well, how is that similar to the pickup artist thing? It's similar because if you think your fees are high, then what you're trying to do is to get people to pay high fees. And who wants to sell something to somebody where they think it's high? Because nobody wants to buy something and pay a high price for it. Oh, I want to buy something and I want to pay a high price for it. Who wants that? Nobody. Nobody wants to pay a high price tag for something. You want to buy a car, even if it's an expensive car, you don't want to pay a high price for it. You want to pay a low price for an expensive car. And so if you want to sell something at a high price, you're setting yourself up for an obstacle. You're actually going out in the world trying to say, I want people to overpay for my coaching. That is fucked up. It's fucked up on the idea that you want somebody to pay more than something's worth. That's the first thing. And it's also fucked up because you don't need to go out into the world wanting people to pay more than what your coaching is worth. Where I come from and where I choose to try to think about my fees is I want to have low fees. I want to be a low fee coach. And this isn't just for coaching. It could be for consulting, anything where you're selling service at a fee. I want to be a low-fee service provider. Does that mean that I want to make very little money? No. It's that my fee relative to the value that I'm providing, I want to perceive it as low in my whole body, in my truth, not just as a story or an idea, but I actually want to see it as low. And I know that I do with my fees, reflected back to me from some clients. A client that I have told me once, the moment I decided I wanted to work with you was when I was expressing concern about whether it would be worth it or not, because it was a lot of money to invest in the program. I think it was a group program, about $15,000. And he said, when I mentioned that to you, you laughed at me. I don't even remember this, but I remember the story about it. And if I laughed at him, it was because if he thought $15,000 was an amount of money that he should be worried about whether there would be value, that is laughable to me. Because I know what spending a year together can create for a person and how insignificant that money actually will be by the time we get to the end of our time together. I just came away from a conversation with a new client who's made a commitment to invest $100,000 in spending time with me over the course of a year. And I left that conversation thinking to myself, wow, that is such a bargain. What we are going to be able to do in the depth of time that we have together is so valuable and is worth so much more than that, financially in the returns that they'll create, but also just in their life in general, for the rest of their life. That is a deal. And so where I come from this place of, man, my fees are low, that has me go out into the world and I'm offering people things at a deal, at a discount. And it feels very different than going out into the world and trying to get people to pay high fees for my service. Like, hey guys, want to pay more money than I'm worth? That's uncomfortable for a reason. It's fucked up. It should be uncomfortable. So what you want to do is keep the price the same, but get yourself to a place where that price is low in your body, in your truth. When you feel that your fees are low, it will be so much easier to connect with people, to talk to them about your services, to ask them to pay for your services, to offer them and to propose to them your services in a paid way. See yourself as a low fee service provider, and all of your creation of clients will become so much more easier, and your revenue will actually go up. Today is the perfect day for you to create who you are. You are loved and you are powerful. And I am loving you simply for your being here. I will talk to you soon.